When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to anfieldindexpro.com and get started today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to the Transfer Show. Now, a different voice. I am not coming to you from the rural fields in Ireland. It's just me, Dave. There is no Trev this week. And why there's no Trev, I hear you ask? Because Virgin Media are a bunch of scumbags, ladies and gents. They've been promising for ages to fix this broadband, haven't they? They promised, they've reneged, they've promised again. What an absolute shower of, as it were. So, unfortunately, there is no Trev today because he's had to stay in and waste the day sorting his broadband, or not, as the case may be. Virgin Media, you absolute delirious cretins. But here we are. It's just me, ladies and gents, here to take you through Liverpool transfer news, everything in the Premier League and Europe as well. What a few days it's been. The PSR FFP deadline ended on the 30th of June. 1st of July, all the windows open across Europe and Saudi as well, it's important to say. So, we will get stuck right into it. And it got exciting, didn't it, at the weekend? Because the Anthony Gordon talk ramped up. So, we're now in a situation where it feels like it's journo briefings, isn't it? Newcastle are pitching their story to their patch journalist. We're pitching our details to our patch journalist. And here we are. So let's rewind a bit. So what do we know? That clearly Newcastle open talks, various outlets have got that, with Liverpool to say, would you be interested in Anthony Gordon? Liverpool have clearly, as we know, got an appreciation for the player. David Lynch confirmed that. Various patch journals have confirmed that. Liverpool clearly like the player. Was also clear the player likes Liverpool. He's a Liverpool fan. There's nothing really controversial with that at all. He wanted to come. Both sides have put that the player wanted to make the move happen. There's no doubts about that. However, nothing officially got done as in an offer, rejected, as much as people are reporting that. Now, here's where you want to pick your patch briefing journos. Newcastle wanted the discussion with Jarell Quansah going to St James's Park. Liverpool clearly were not interested in that. That is not going to happen. If Jared Branthwaite is worth £70 million, we know what Jarell Quansah is worth. Simple as that. At the same time, there's now Newcastle journalists. I'm looking at Luke Edwards in the Telegraph, so he's not digging him in any way. But as his report said, Liverpool were prepared to throw in Jarell Quansah, and he mentions Joe Gomez. Now, having checked that out, as me and Trev do, asked around, that's been categorically denied by any Liverpool source across the board. But again, I'm not trying to slag journalists from each side off. They're just reporting what they're told by their clubs, aren't they? So nothing formal ever got to a real stage. It was everyone. And we'll come on to Newcastle's PSR situation. That's what drew it. But the genie is out the bottle now. Anthony Gordon wants to move to Liverpool. Now, here's the key thing that when digging around, as we do, we've asked, you know what me and Trev do, it's no secret, trying to get the information for you. All the sort of info that we're getting says this was never a priority side, and we need to be clear on that. It's not something about like Liverpool's top of their target list. This is an opportunistic potential sign. A lot of words there, right? A lot of words at Scrabble. But opportunistic is in Liverpool got presented with this opportunity. Yes, they've turned it down on the current parameters. It's not a priority in the sense of at this stage, and that's important to say, getting Tony Gordon that left wing option, that's predominantly where he plays. He can play other positions, I appreciate, is not a priority for Liverpool. That's what all the briefings, the detail me and Trevor getting is telling us. However, Liverpool like the player. The contract situation is a little bit uncertain because, and a few different sources have this, 2026 seems to be a suggestion from some, but that is being debated on the Newcastle side as well. So again, is there an option with it? No one's really clear, but it's important to remember that that would mean when Gordon signed from Everton, he would have signed a 3.5-year deal. I don't know. I don't know the definitive answer. It's being disputed on both sides. That doesn't quite sit right, though, does it? Anthony Gordon at that age only signing a 3.5-year deal. If it's true, it's a chip on Liverpool's side of the table. I really hope it's true, because next summer, he'd only have a year left to go. And that's an important thing to say, that a lot of the precedence tends to be that this is not just going to disappear, because it's not a case of the opportunity wasn't taken, that's over. Liverpool is still interested in this player. That is really important to say. Now, there's a natural thing around Luis Diaz, which we'll come to, but I'm not jumping to that straight away. I know we talked about Luis Diaz, and I've said before, Luis Diaz would like to move clubs. We've been quite, honest about that information we've had, but we'll come back to that shortly. It's been also a week of other patch journal briefings. I mean, James Pearce isn't quite a base. He ruled out Nico Williams. That was his info, and says that almost not set prices, but the information he was given was that Kelleher around 25 million and Diaz around 50 million could potentially go, and Simicast mentioned at the same time. Lewis Steele of Daily Mail, he had probably no shock of this. Nat Phillips, in that sense, being gone on, what shock are we talking there? And Sepp. Now, the interesting one that he had, which a lot of people jumped on, is Sepp is liked by a number of clubs, and Bologna was mentioned in there. The club of Riccardo Calafiori, isn't it? So people, you don't want to say jump to it type of thing, but people like the sound of that deal, don't they? All of a sudden. So that's important. Ricardo Carvalho is, and again, on this, liked by a lot of clubs. Liverpool have had a lot of clubs asking about Tyler Morton and Ricardo Carvalho, the two players that are on loan at Hull. Not that that connects it in that way, but there's a lot of clubs interested. But the biggest thing is around outgoings. That's what everyone is telling us at the moment. Slot is back with those players this week, and will be, starting to run the rule. Now, the other bit of, I think, key information, that would be too strong, but information that we have is, yes, he wants to run the rule over certain players. Certain decisions have potentially already been made, though. We know Sepp's spoken out publicly, so that's a factor. We know at the same time that Kelleher, in the right way, has asserted his aim to be a number one. So, for certain amounts, certain deals, those types of things. And Nat Phillips as well, we know Liverpool just almost for his sake as much as ever. There's a few that can simply go for the right fee. That's not dismissing the likes of Kelleher. He's been an unbelievable player for us when he's coming as number two, but that's just the nature of the situation. At the same time, I know there's talk of running the rule over players, and that's absolutely true. That's the public lie. Having, say, sort of door-gassed around, the big thing we were getting back, interestingly enough, was Slot's already done a lot of analysis. He's been at the club a while. He's watched, because of the nature, him and his staff, him and his analysts have watched a lot of the video. They're aware of these players. So it doesn't mean it's just all on what happens now on the training ground, the waiting, there is a feeling that some decisions are pretty much made, and also there's meetings taking place this week as well. And that doesn't mean that you're going or your option. No one's going to be fully certain what's happening. Don't get me wrong. We're not trying to be any pretend ITKs, as you know, on this. It's just the information that we've got back. That's all when asking around. So that'll be an interesting one, or multiple interesting ones to keep an eye on there, ladies and gents. Ait-Nouri, Gordon and Ait-Nouri, the Wolves left back. Yeah, there was that story, wasn't there? And it was by an Algerian journalist. So people were like, naturally, is this credible that Gordon and Ait-Nouri is wanted by a lot of clubs, but Liverpool are leading the race? And more importantly, they were Ait-Nouri's choice. And then people looked at things, didn't they? Like, look at the photos he had at the end of last season, all those games with all the Reds, or, before he got on the coach. Father saying, yeah, he was answering questions, he wants to come here. Also, it's a long-term link. It's not anything new, is it? Ait-Nouri is a player we've been linked with for some time, liked by a lot of fans, I think it's fair to say as well. David Lynch even said on the pod today, yeah, feels there's real legs in this. And having asked, as we normally do, sort of siphoned around, trying to get that info for you, yeah, the feeling is this is a player Liverpool do like. Doesn't mean they're going for, again, not a priority target. And it's a strange one because we say this, so this is the brief when you get back. And I get people are going to be thinking the same as me. Centre-back's not a priority. The left wing's not a priority. Right? What are the priorities? It's really hard to get that back. Not disagreeing with that at all. We can only tell you what we get. But very much, Ait-Nouri is said to be a player we like. Now, people will know this anyway. The Algerian journalist that reported this, people then ask those questions. Is he reliable? Is he inside? Informed? Anything like that. He did, to be fair to him, put that on his Twitter, didn't he? He's done that interview with Ait-Nouri. Actually went to Ait-Nouri's house at the same time as well. So, he's got framed with his shirt there on his Twitter photo and his handle. So he obviously knows the player. So that will add weight to it. Does it mean it's definitive or nothing like that at all? However, there is a value to that, ladies and gents. It is really important to say, because if you did have those things, you wouldn't sort of put as much stock in it, would you, if you're honest? But there we are. Ait-Nouri wants definitely a player that Liverpool like. Will they move for it? Who knows? Part of it, and David Lynch mentioned this, and a few others have said it, it's important as well when we've asked around. Future could be linked to Kostas Tsimikas. You just get this feeling that Liverpool are very certain they're not going to stockpile players or leave themselves in a position where clubs go, hold on, you've got too many, so we're not going to pay top dollar. They're going to almost try and extort top dollar to then move for their targets. It does feel like it's going to be in that order. And the priority, as Lynch mentioned, David Lynch mentioned today, and a few others, is outgoing, it seems, at the moment, and getting those deals right. And you look at it in the various outlets, didn't you, that the patch journalists are reporting it. We've got prices for Tyler Morton, prices for Sepp van der Berg, price for Queven Keller, even a potential price for Luis Diaz. It does feel like he's just getting them stickers with the jaggy edges, isn't he, ready? The bright green, the bright pink. He's got his marker pad, Richard Jones. He's getting his stalls set up. Yeah? We'll see what happens. But a little bit of Liverpool transfer news at last, rather than just talking everywhere else. But we go round the Prem. And dear God, is this almost better than some of the deadlines we've had recently? If your club is wank with finance, you had a bit of fun at the end, didn't you? And to be fair, some of us had a bit of fun watching this whole thing unfold. Although, I'm not too convinced the Geordies had that much fun, if I'm deadly honest, because they now have an Anthony Gordon problem, don't they? That genie's out the bottle. That player wants to move clubs. He also knows that his club is quite happy to sell him. Even Isaac. It's an interesting one, isn't it? He was quite happy. They obviously spoke to Chelsea. That's confirmed various outlets. Yes, his extortionate fee was never going to happen. And now the Newcastle briefing seems to be going, oh, that was never going to... Like, the genie's out of the bottle a little bit. Whether it was just floats or whatever, it does not look good for Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, there's a few... So digging into this, and a few are really keen to report and stay, and we have to be clear on this. FFP and PSR, that roll in 3-year figures, Now that Newcastle's in 21-22, as it was stressed to us, has been taken off the docket and their new kit deals on it, their figures will be better for this year. They're very keen to stress that. So Newcastle sources or all the journalists that we've asked about it. So that's really important to mention. However, you've got that. You've got the Gordon, the Isaac situations. You've also got Yankuba Minte. People will think different things, but there's a lot of people who watched him at Feyenoord and seen his potential think Brighton have got a bargain there for about 33 million. Elliot Anderson.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
I've already seen him a few times, so I can't pretend I know his game inside out. And there's certain things I like, but 35 million, that's the same price as Alexis McAllister to Liverpool. Think about that. Yeah? And it works with Forest, funnily enough. They raised funds there, importantly. They got those deals done. Again, through a bit of digging, through a bit of harassing and haranguing, the bit of information when we did manage to get hold of a Newcastle journalist that we got was the big expectation at the start of this period was that Bruno was going to go. And it was that clause. And obviously, if you think about that amount that was talked around the 100 million euros, wasn't it? That would have just cleared a lot of the issue straight away. That was the expectation. I know the public setting is, no, we want to keep all of our players. I've no doubt about it. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to say. But when we asked about it, that's what we were told. Bruno's departure was expected to solve a lot of these issues, and here we are, and everything kind of fell through from the scramble. They did also get a Forest player, because again, we're getting those clubs, aren't we, doing between them, but I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. He's worth 86 million as Scrabble. He's a 6'4" handsome bastard. I think his name is Vladikakis. Probably completely butchering that, completely wrong, but the Greek keeper moves from Nottingham Forest to Newcastle, so fair play to getting that deal done. And even another one, Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall is now their player, isn't he? He's completed that, funnily enough, after the 1st of July. That's really important to say for a fee of, as reports say in the Telegraph, £28 million. So as much as people may be thinking, how are they affording that after everything? That is a suggestion we've had back that, yes, they've weathered that. Yes, they've had to sell those players. Yes, there might be issues now with Anthony Gordon, that genie being out the bottle. But going forward, 21-22 is off the account and the Adidas deal. That is the suggestions we've had, so that's important. We'll step a bit away from the FFP PSR clubs, although clubs have got financial questions. United. I mean, there's been Ornstein bombs galore for United. So, Dare Nation 1, Ligt. United, and there's still reports going this today, clearly like Ligt. Like, what? It's not like he's a non-existent player. That would be so disrespectful to say, don't get me wrong. But you think of how he was at Ajax, all that potential. Everyone wanted him. He goes to Juventus for a big money. It doesn't quite work out. He then goes to Bayern Munich, where it definitely doesn't work out. And it's quite clear they're willing to offload him. You know, they're not good at anything right with their centre-halves. But, I mean, just to be clear, Bayern Munich, in a few games I watched last season, were even happy to play midfielders back in defence rather than have Ligt go in. You have to be clear on that. And the suggestions are, from Sir Ornstein to Plettenberg, from the various sources, that somewhere around £50 million could be doable. And United are very much in for this one. I think this is an important one to watch. You don't almost be surprised if something doesn't materialise a bit more. It's just all about, he's got a massive wage packet, got a massive head as well, hasn't he? I just love the idea of United centre-backs could be Slabhead and D-Slabhead, literally. They're massive-headed players. Maybe it's just a thing. But then again, that little Martinez fellow is really... who knows anyway. But United are very much in for this player. They're also in for Manuel Ugarte. No doubts about that. A lot. You'll have all seen this, various outlets. That's actually one as well where I think a lot of fans looked and went, that'd be a good buy. I really want United getting that sort of aggressive front-footed. I know people are saying a holding midfielder, but if you look at his profile, very much a front-footed, aggressive midfielder there. Not quite worked out, has it really, at PSG for whatever reason for him, but Mendes seems quite certain to move him on. At the same time as well, Joshua Zirkzee, that's still in talks, isn't it? Obviously, Holland is still at the Euros. There's that release clause we'll have to keep an eye on. The one thing they maybe did quite smart is they did manipulate Newcastle's situation, didn't they? They managed to get Dan Ashworth in to pretty much start immediately. And all the suggestions are that's because Newcastle are willing to accept that lesser fee because of their situation, getting it on the book. So maybe that's the smartest move United have made. We'll have to see how it unravels with Ashworth, won't we? But that is United. Others as well. I mean, we'll stay away from PSR. I'll come back to that a bit because it'd be easy to go to. I mean, Brian, good deal for Minte. I think that could be great. Also, Matt's FIFA. Quite a few outlets have got that. They made a few bids for him, and the Dutch source also got that. Will they get that over the line? Definitely one to keep an eye out on. Other business as well. Strand Larsen, Wolves have got him in at the same time. It's an interesting one. It's still got to be confirmed, don't get me wrong, but all the reports, a $3 million loan fee with a $27 million option. It's just the way some clubs are maybe struggling with finance are structuring things. Now,
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Gary O'Neill said at the end of last season, if we're going to get players in, some are going to have to leave because of our financial situation. I know Wolves reports they've sold all their season tickets, which is great for them, but they bought the Portuguese winger. They're now set to get this one. So you do question about outgoings. The one that a lot of clubs are still looking at, as we mentioned, Max Kilman. No one can quite get to the price. I don't think they're not going to get to this 45 million price tag as whatever Wolves want. But West Ham, Newcastle have been mentioned in the mix for him as well. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on what happens with him. You feel like Wolves may have to sell him. He's the one. Next, people are going to talk Neto, but I'm not sure about that. We'll have to see. And the other one before we go down PSR lane, Archie Gray. There's going to be a lot of fans disappointed that it's not their club. It was an interesting one, wasn't it? On Saturday, Brentford step in. Now, Leeds' financial situation isn't great, but it's not as bad when, again, we've been digging around Leeds journalists, they're saying. And they need a few players that have went for smaller fees like Charlie Creswell and a few others. They have raised some funds. They're very keen to stress that, Leeds journalists. That's really important to say. However, this is a move for necessity. And they understand that Archie Gray is a certain talent. A lot of people rate his potential. I've only seen him a few times, so I'm not going to comment too much. He does look a real talent. I can't pretend I know him inside out and to the level that others are preaching his potential to, which is absolutely fine. I think it's telling, though, isn't it, that Brentford, you think Baxter on Saturday and, he's having there, but it doesn't get done. For various reasons, it's important to say, player side and club side, it doesn't get done. However, as the David Ornstein bomb dropped, there is a deal that works for everyone now, and the player is pretty much a Spurs player. Maybe the photos have gone out by the time this is released. Who knows? Archie Gray, 25 million, and Joe Rodon is the suggestion, isn't it, around that? So Leeds get 25 million in cash and a deal for Joe Rodon, who was on loan there, did very well. I know Leeds didn't go up, but Leeds fans are real fans of Joe Rodon. So I think that helps make it a bit more palatable. We'll have to see. A lot of people think Spurs have got a hell of a player with unbelievable potential. I can't pretend I know. Just that's the information that we got from the Leeds side when we were asking. So let's head down PSR lane, eh? You know all the exchanges that have happened. You know, like Louise confirmed, Kellyman confirmed from Villa to Chelsea. You know these types of things. Louise, Juventus to Villa. You've seen all the deals, etc. Even now that those 1st of July's passed, Ross Barkley's confirmed by Villa. You've seen a lot of the confirmation that way. So deals have got done. Again, I'm probably pronouncing their names wrong, but Illing Jr., Barranchia from Juventus. So everything's now getting done and confirmed, isn't it, in that regard, because we're in the 1st of July. So we can make the accounts work how we want them to. Forest got business done, importantly, didn't they? Niakate, Mangala, they sold their PSR, and they got Elliot Anderson in. And they moved the Greek keeper as well. So, yeah, Forest managed to sort theirs. All these... I know everyone will say, so Joe Club's working together. It's done now, isn't it, a little bit? We talked about that before. There's nothing much really more to say. Chelsea shuffled their pack as well. Kellyman in, Matson out that way. Dewsbury Hall, they've had a bid accepted. Obviously, that looks all set to get done at any time, doesn't it? I mean, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Anselmino from Barca, that looks set to be done at the same time as well. Again, not yet confirmed. We're still waiting for that. What did get confirmed to help their books just before the deadline is Amari Hutchinson. Ipswich made that permanent, didn't they, for a package of 22 million. So that was a nice little boost to Chelsea's books that way. Yes, Lewis Hall is now a Newcastle player, but that again is after the 1st of July. But again, it's nice little boosts to the books. So what we're saying here, if you look at it, is the PSR clubs all helps each other. And it's going to be interesting now, isn't it? Because now that weird little deadline has closed, and the European, the Saudi League, and the transfer windows open from the 1st of July today, does it stay as busy? Because I think if you look at it honestly, take all the PSR clubs and all their dealings out, already too much is happening. You have to be honest, just at this stage. And there's the Euros, the Copa America. Yes, clubs are starting to get knocked out now, so that may free up certain things. But yeah, we will just have to see in that regard. No one's completely, fully certain. I think it's fair to say that. However, there are certain things in Europe that we always touch upon. I mean, the only place to really start is Barcelona. I know, because we said last week or last few weeks, we talked to Barcelona Jones. We especially managed to get hold of one that went to their AGM, and a lot of what he says is now coming true, isn't it? That they talked about the winger, they talked about the midfielder. It was Nico Williams or Luis Diaz, the two they were looking at. And again, Romano comes out today and says Nico Williams is one of their top targets, but they know it's complicated. And as this journo told us, Barcelona's finances are a real issue. The new kit is not out. That is a problem. They're not making the money from that record selling they're supposed to do. So that is a big issue. La Liga ruled against them, so they can only spend pretty much a third of what they even raise at this stage, which makes it harder. They did want to keep, whether it's another loan, Felix and Cancelo. Those two players have gone back to City and Atletico Madrid, respectively. Nothing is smooth at Barcelona by any means, but it just seems the craziest it's ever been. And maybe, just maybe, you do wonder, there was all those reports that Lamine Yamal, what a player Yamal is. You've seen him for the Euros, but those who watched him I know say watched him weekly, but I've watched him a number of times for Barca. What a talent this kid is. Unbelievable. His age as well. And there's that report, isn't there, that PSG are prepared to pay a world record fee for this kid. There's a bit where normally if everything was all good at Barca, not a chance. But you do just wonder if it gets more desperate, does someone, and I mean even like a creditor to Barcelona, go, hey, you can't be turning like 250 million down or whatever it is. That's a chunk that clears a lot and allows you do just wonder. But we'll have to see what happens with Barca. But from a Liverpool fan's perspective, I know people thinking, oh, Luis Diaz to Barcelona, and then there's a lot of concerns around what Barca are going to do or what might not happen. So we're going to have to see. The Saudi window opens. I mean, that again, they've been linked with players galore. That it's quite clear that, as a few reports have, Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah, they do like those players. Will they come back in that regard? Who knows? Moussa Diaby, we also had that they'd asked about, but that had been rebuffed by Villa. De Bruyne made comments as well about Saudi, interesting enough. I mean, Nacho deal got done. That's important to say, isn't he? So he is now there. But De Bruyne talked about this. He used to talk a lot while he's on Belgian duty. You think most people just shut it down and go textbook cover drive to bat it away, don't they? But he talks. So he said, staying at City, yes. I've read a lot of headlines about a transfer to Saudi Arabia, but I haven't spoken to anyone. If there's a good offer and you tell Pep you want to leave, then it's possible. But I haven't had that yet. This is the interesting one he finishes on. I have more than enough money, but if an absurd amount that comes in is also for my family, my relatives, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and my friends, I might think about it. It's so weird, isn't it? He's kind of saying like, just offer me like literally a truck full of money and we'll get it done. So we'll have to see on that. And the final good one to finish on, ladies and gents, Dortmund. Now, we said it started a bit sad for them in the sense of it's just not worked out in regards to the players they wanted, did it? Matson, Sancho, just couldn't really make the finances work, etc. However, it looks like actually, maybe the ages are different, I get it. It may be, still a positive window overall. Depends how you want to see it, Dortmund fans. But Valdemir Anton looks like he's joining. That's the centre-back with Mats Hummel's gone from Stuttgart. Another Stuttgart player, and again, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, Seru Girassi, guy who's been banging them in for fun last season again for Stuttgart, looks set to join. So they're getting two of Stuttgart's stars, and we think Stuttgart finished second last season, didn't they? So he may be seen as a coup. The other one that's interesting, and it looked like he was nailed on for PSG, didn't it? But Rayan Cherki, again, I'm probably butchering his name, but we're on a roll here, so who cares? That he may be set for Dortmund. And Ramada and a few others have got that he's advancing and they're talking personal terms, that he's been offered a long-term deal. And Nuri Sahin, the new manager, the new head coach at Dortmund, is trying to get this player in. It's an interesting one. He's seen as almost a mercurial talent, isn't he? And Get French Football News actually said that he has a sort of bad reputation, but it's not always known why in France at times. Maybe someone's got a different spin on it. Who knows? But, yeah, that would be an interesting coup for them. A real talent, real mercurial flair player, I think it would be interesting to say. So, Dortmund fans, I'm not going to speak for Dortmund fans. I don't know if they'd be happy with that at all. That is wrong to say. However, looks like there may be players coming in. So there we are, ladies and gents. There we are. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. Will it be as busy? We had a crazy almost FFP PSR deadline. Now we will have to see. The only other name that, again, a few journalists, a few articles have called out, Riccardo Calafiori. Now, Liverpool, as we know, have been long-term admirers of this player. However, Arsenal and Chelsea, and it's important to say via various sources and outlets, are said to be interested in Bologna wanting about £40 million or more for the player. So that's probably one to maybe keep an eye on for this week and next, mainly because Italy are out the Euros, aren't they? But we'll have to see. One of France or Belgium's going out tonight, so maybe something like Bakayoko progresses in the near future. Portugal tonight. We expect Portugal to go through later on, don't we? We will have to see. But there's a lot of Liverpool, and that's our focus. We'll probably see a bit more next week or this week in terms of well, I'm going to lie to you then, but I'm actually not here next week. I'm away for 2 weeks, hence the solo pod and trying to line everything up. But we will find out what Slot's got to say, won't we? We'll probably find out a bit more about outgoings. We really hope, and I hope someone asks him this at the press conference, what about your top players? Your Salah, your Van Dijks, your Trents, like, what's the contract plans? I think that's a fair question to ask him. I know someone's going to say, we need to deal with contracts. It's important that he, this is his chance to reaffirm, say, he loves the pitched player. And I think that's important personally. Anyway, so hopefully we'll get news on that. But you just hope there's more Liverpool news. It was good to have a bit of Tony Gordon excitement, wasn't it? Well, ladies and gents, a couple of things to remember. Number one, on behalf of Tread, fuck Virgin Media. Number two, on Monday the 1st of July, enjoy your day. And that was the one man, the transfer show.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.